And we are live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Business Growth Insiders. I am Jeff Evans. This is the illustrious Lisa McGuire. Lisa, how are we doing today?
Doing very well, Jeff, and very excited to continue on in our theme of email marketing for your business.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about, how to build a list and why a list is so important. And if you haven't heard those, please go back and watch/listen to those episodes again. We talked about how to build that list. We talked about, the different types of emails to write, the strategies behind all of that. But next up really is to talk about what to do with those emails. How do we incorporate all this stuff together? How do we start sending those emails? And today, it should be a fairly quick episode, really. But we're going to talk today really about your email marketing platform, the actual service that you're going to use, whether that's MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft. Don't use Infusionsoft or MailerLite, which is what we're going to use today. MailerLite is not Miller Lite, but MailerLite is a really easy platform to get started with. We are not sponsored by MailerLite. We just happen to like them for the ease of use, as well as for what it can do for small businesses that are just starting out building a list. You don't have to be a new business. You just have to be a business that's trying to start this list for the first time. So let me share my screen. And let's get into this. So one of the reasons that we really like MailerLite is because it's free up to 1,000 emails. They call it subscribers. Let's just call it emails, okay? So for the first 1,000 email addresses that you get and put into the system, you're not paying a dime. Now, are the features limited? Some of them, but the majority of the ones that you need aren't. And the ones that we'll be discussing today are not either. So this is a really great thing. Now, if you wanted to get all of the unlimited features in those 1,000 emails, you'd have to go to about $10 per month, which is still pretty easy and affordable for most small businesses. And from 1,001 to 2,500 emails, it's $15 a month. So you really can't beat this. And it really does a lot of great things for a lot of great different types of industries, including e-commerce. But for today's show, we're not going to really get into that. We're just going to stick to the basics. Okay. So, and again, you can always go to features, pricing, gallery, resources. There's so much stuff here to go through to get a better sense as to what this platform can do for your business. So please do take a look. But once you do sign up, you'll come to this screen here. This is a dashboard. That will say that your registration is complete. This will not say that that you will not have a green check mark here. You'll need to go in and edit the profile. The profile has your name, your company address, because you do need to put your company address so that it's actually listed in the footer of the email, the bottom of the email. That is for legal purposes. And then you'll have to request approval at the time. Okay, so nothing we need to get into right now. Again, these are different parts and functions of the platform, but I don't like to start down here. We need to start up here and get to know these sections up top here. So to start using this platform, we're going to need something that's going to get those email addresses and then send it into our automation sequence. And to do that, we need to build a form. Yay, I know, forms, right? Exciting. I already built a form for this so that you don't have to watch me build an entire form, because no one has time for that. So instead, what we'll do is we'll kind of go in and I'll just show you the form really quickly, and then some of the editing and functionality that you can do with it. Okay. So as my system starts to boot up here, there we go. So this is what the actual form would look like, right? So free download, 5 ways to get more customers with social media marketing. Free guide, 5 ways to get more customers with social media marketing. Now, I created this graphic here on the right using canva.com, canva.com. You can do it for free, or you can get an actual pro account. Pro account's $12 a month, and it comes with so much ridiculous functionality, and it makes designing things so easy. I highly recommend it. I certainly pay for it. But then you can have different form types up here, right? So, you can have this pop up so that it basically pops up right in front of your screen, right in front of your eyes, right there, okay? You have one that's kind of down below, one that kind of slides in from the side, one that takes up the entire screen, and one that just kind of, it takes up half the screen, right? For this one, we're just going to keep this one here. Yes.
Yeah. And Jeff, when you're talking about takes up the screen or comes in from the left and the right, you're talking about for those people that are listening and not watching on your website.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is going to be one of those episodes that you're going to want to watch. So go to Facebook, go to our YouTube channel, Business Growth Insiders, and watch this episode so that you can see what we're doing here. Okay, so then down here, you've actually got width settings. So you can change the width, actual pop-up here, right? So that's pretty neat. And you see how it just kind of moves as you go. I love that. You have a font choice. So you can choose different types of fonts. So say Poppins isn't your font, you can do Helvetica, and it'll change your fonts down to Helvetica. Okay, here's your background, form colors, the sidebar background. See, this is where we added that image, right? So, once you start getting into stuff like this, Canva, even WordPress, other things of that nature, this is the kind of stuff that you're going to see over and over again, right? It's software functionality. It's how do we edit things? And you just got to start clicking and playing. Now, obviously, this is delete. It's a pretty universal delete. So don't click on that if you're trying not to delete something. But the pencil, that's just an edit thing. And it's everywhere. I mean, it's everywhere. So do get used to that, okay? So we'll just hit cancel there. As you go down, you can see you've got content elements. So you've got your heading. See this, right there. See, there's your font size. So you can change it. Oh, there it goes. It shrinks down. There it goes. It gets bigger again, right? You have button settings. So you've got all sorts of different functionality to where you can really design this to be around the same brand that you guys have, right? So if your colors are blue and yellow, you can change this to be more blue and yellow. Red and black, okay? So it gives you that ability to do so, okay? But at the end of the day, what is this form supposed to do? This form is supposed to get the email and the name so that we can get their email and their name, right? That's what we're talking about here today, okay? So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get out of here. Lisa, if you don't have any questions or anything.
No, I think we're good. I think your suggestion of Canva for a small business owner is great because it is free. And for those people who are not graphically design inclined, it is really very easy to use. I can attest to that.
It is. And this is actually Canva here once you come to it. I think that one of our episodes coming up, I'll actually do a walkthrough of Canva so that we can really kind of see the full potential of this platform. You don't need Photoshop or InDesign or any of that kind of stuff to create amazing looking graphics and video. Yeah, because they've got stock video in here if you're on the Pro plan. So it's absolutely amazing and definitely something that we'll talk about in another episode. But anyway, so we're gonna get out of this form. Now that's really all we have to talk about here because we're using the form that's in MailerLite. So MailerLite will already take this information and put it to where we want it to go, so that you don't have to get all intricate with different forms from different places and da 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 da. Just use what's in the actual system. Again, this is one of the reasons why we like MailerLite, because it's going to simplify the process here. Okay. All right. So we've got our form. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to set up our automation. Okay. Now when you come in here, you say, well, what about campaigns? Campaigns are one-off emails. So think of campaigns like a newsletter, right? Or a monthly, here's what we've been doing, here's what you can do type of email, or you're running a special. I would say that campaigns are really great for those customers you already have, okay? And that what kind of communication do you want to use with them, okay? Whereas in the automation, we're setting up these sequences of emails to go out at specific times to generate more interest, to get them to go through something, right? So that we can educate them or get them to buy more things or what have you, right? So let's go into automation. All right, so I've already, again, created an automation so that we don't have to watch Jeff create the full automation. But what you would do is you would click Create Workflow, okay? Once you click Create Workflow, what it's going to show you is It's going to have this little button up top, and there's going to be nothing else here. Okay. And I'll show you that in a second, but let's just kind of go through what all of this means. Okay. So first of all, to start an automation, an email address, somebody needs to be brought in. Okay. So there's no reason to start an automation if there's nobody there, right? That doesn't make any sense. So what we need to do is we need to first get people into the automation. So what we do is, see, this is called what we want to do is workflow name. Okay. So there's your workflow name for the entire workflow, so that you can understand, once you build more campaigns, more workflows, as they call them, what this all means, right? Workflow trigger. So this is a very important word, a trigger. So the trigger is what happens. Okay. This is what starts it. This is what ends it. This is what moves it. The trigger. Okay. So there's all sorts of different choices here. We have when subscriber joins a group, when subscriber completes a form, when subscriber clicks a link. Yeah, I love that one. Updated field, the anniversary of a date, the exact match of a date. So there's a whole bunch of little choices in here that we can choose from. I love all of them. The top two are what you would probably use for this specifically when a subscriber joins a group. So a group is like a list that you create, right? But for this one, again, we're trying to simplify this whole process, okay? We want to use when subscriber completes a form, because we already created a form, right? So we click that one, and then it says select a form. Well, here's our form, test one pop-up, because that's the one I created. And there you go, right? So then we click save, and there. So when subscriber completes a form, and that's test one, then they're put into this sequence. That's step one. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Awesome. All right, let's keep rolling. It's good to see my internet working better. All right. So once they come into this, we want to immediately send them an email, like boom, right away. Okay. Their attention is with us. They're involved. They've wanted something. For this purpose, it's to download this guide, right? So immediately, we want them to stay with us, right? So that we can capture their attention. So immediately we send them this email. Okay. Now let's go through kind of the functionality here again. So on the right column here, you have subject. So this is where you put your subject. Okay. And that you can actually add emoticons or whatever, emojis. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can add to your subject line. Do those help? Yeah, they certainly do. Can you overuse them? Yeah, you certainly can. But they help. They really do. Because, people get so many emails every day, all day long, that if you use emojis, a lot of times it'll pique people's, they'll be able to see it and they'll stop, right? So who's it from? Well, for our intents and purposes for this demonstration, Mark Johnson is who it's from. But he's using my business email address because, again, I had to set up the email. So this has to be a real email address. So you can't just use a fake one. I learned that last night. So we're just going to use that one for this purpose. As you scroll down here, you have edit email content. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into edit email content because I really want to show you guys what's capable here for your email. Okay. Once this loads up.
Yeah. And while it's loading, Jeff, I want to bring up the point, you said you did need a business address for MailerLite. Mm-hmm. And I know quite a few people who try and start a business and they don't have a business address.
Yeah.
There is real value in getting a business address because it does position your brand as a real business. So if you can make the effort to get that business address, definitely worth doing.
It is. It certainly is. If you're just starting off and you just don't have the funds, just use your home address for now. If you're like, I don't want to do that, then don't. Okay. But if you're just, you have pennies to your name and you just want to get this, just use your home address. Yeah. But yes, Lisa is correct. Get a business address as soon as you can. You can get them from all sorts of different businesses out there. They have them, P.O. boxes, whatever it is. There's plenty out there, although I don't suggest a P.O. box because that does look a little sketchy. Or as they say nowadays, the kids, they say sketch because apparently sketchy is too much of a word to use. Anyways, I digress. Anyway, so let's get into this. All right. So airmail is just it's a logo. Okay. Doesn't mean anything, but if you wanted to, you actually show some sort of branding within this, you can. Now, there's a lot of people, say, within the info marketing world that don't do any of this. They just do plain text emails.
Mhm.
Okay, it's really up to you and your business and your brand. I prefer to have a logo up there. I don't see any kind of email deliverability issues with that. What that means is, for those that don't know, that means your email is actually getting through and not being put in spam. Okay. I don't see that issue, especially with small businesses using a program like this. So go ahead and use the logo to kind of brand that. Here is the actual email copy that we're using for this. Lisa, do you want to kind of, pull out some points here, kind of
Sure.
why we started with this one?
Sure. And here's the whole thing is when someone gives you their email address, they know what's coming.
Yeah.
Email is coming. And so for them to part with it, they are looking for something of value. So whatever your downloadable is, it needs to help them solve a problem. So the very first email, all they want is the guide. So thanks for downloading it. Make sure that you bold whatever the title it is, so they know that is what they downloaded it, or what they downloaded. And just a great encouragement. Here's to helping you grow your business. Just in and out, and make it really quick so they can get to that guide. They don't want to read a long email. They just want the guide. So that is the purpose of the first email. Is here's what you requested.
That is correct. There's different ways, of course, that we can deliver that guide. Okay, we're not going to really get into too many of them at this time. The easiest way is to upload, if you're using a WordPress site, is to upload the guide as a PDF to your WordPress site. And when you do that in the media section, it'll give you a URL that you can use so that when you click download the guide, okay, so if we click here, you see over here, we've got a link that we can use, and then you just put the link in there, and then that way when they click it, it'll go right to the PDF. Okay. If you guys have any questions on that, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you and walk you through that. It's not a problem. Okay. But again, so we click here, because I do want to show you some of the functionality as well, right? So you've got, a basic WYSIWYG, as they call it. What you see is what you get. I guess that's what that stands for.
Okay.
Yeah, you learn something new, right? And so you've got, HTML, so you can get real nerdy with it. Don't do that. You've got bolding and italics, underline, a whole bunch of the basic stuffs here. Obviously, bolding, underlining are huge for emails when you really want to draw attention and drive a point home, right? And of course, link. So link is super important to when you're trying to do things. Okay, and we'll get to that in another email as we kind of progress down. Okay, now once let's get out of here. I want to go that way, and then of course here's your footer. So it's got the brand name, the business address. You received this email because you signed up, and blah 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 blah. And there's things that you could actually do to kind of edit that copy so it doesn't look so silly. But again, this is the most important part, is up here. Now, when you look on this left side, which I'm gonna remove our faces for a second so I can really kind of show people this. There we go. Okay, so when you look at this, these are all the different types of content blocks that you can add to the emails. So this is what's called drag and drop, right? So let's say you really have an article, right? So you can take this article here and you can pop it in, and then bam, that's right. And then it's just a template, right? So, okay, well, I want to change the image. Well, you click on the image, and then on the right side here, there you go. And there's that delete button, or you can just click change. You can enter a URL so that if somebody clicks on the image, it goes somewhere. Okay. You can have a subtitle. There's your title. There's your text to change. You can have a button. See the read more button. So this is amazing stuff here, all built into this platform that when you start off, it's free. So for instance, if you're doing a newsletter, you could do this and then have your logo and then have it say weekly newsletter, or change it to whatever you're calling your newsletter, and so on. There's a lot of really great stuff here. I mean, look at this. It just keeps going and going. Like, you got 4 articles with titles, hero image with articles. I mean, it's pretty expansive. And again, free. So you really can't beat that. All sorts of different button styles and choices. You got products here for the ecom people out there. So lots and lots to look at, lots to use. I love all of it, right? So let's continue on. So I am going to click done editing on this one. I'm going to bring our faces back. There you go. And let's get, as soon as this gets loading. All right, cool. So once we're into this section, now we've created our trigger, which is they came in through this form. We sent them their first email, right? Now what's next? Well, we don't want to immediately send them another email like that quickly, right? We at least want to wait a day. Okay. Now there's other people that might say we're going to send it to them in a couple of hours, whatever. Okay. For all intents and purposes, for this one, we're going to say 1 day. So what you would do here, I'm actually going to remove that completely so that we can do this on our own. So there you go. So they got these little plus buttons right here. So you click plus, and you have different types of things that you can choose from within this workflow. So you have email, so you can just quickly send them another email, delay, condition, or action. Condition meaning if they did this, then send them that. So it's really interesting and it gets really nerdy. So we're not going to get into that today. Let's just stick to the basics for today. Okay, so we're going to start with delay. So delay, and then when you come over here, okay, you can actually change this. Look at this: 1 minute, 1 hour, a day, weeks, months, specific time of the day, specific day of the week, day of the month, specific date of the year. Really interesting. So birthday, for instance, right? But for this example, we're going to say 1 day, okay, and then we're going to click save, and there you go. So now, once this email is sent, the system will wait 1 day, and then it's going to send this. It's going to wait 1 day, and then it's going to send this email out the exact same time because it's a computer, right? It's an algorithm. It's a system. So let's go look at this email real quick. So we're going to click on that. Again, here we are, subject line. What's all the fuss about, right? The name. And we're going to edit this email content. So the second email is longer, right, Lee? So what exactly are we looking at once we get into this second email here?
Yeah, the second email, and again, it depends on if you are in a sales sequence. So are you trying to sell them something, or are you, is this sequence just you wanted to get people on your list because you're building your list? So the second email, if it's a sales sequence, you're going to lead into one of those that we talked about in a previous episode: problem, solution, overcoming objection, paradigm shift, testimonial, sales email. You would have a sequence of 5 of those. But if it is a nurture sequence, which means you are working to build the relationship, you are working to start trying to develop that trust in you as an authority, as a credible, wise advisor, then you're going to offer value. And that is what this one is. It's a value post. So here it's talking about the story feature on social media. You have Insta stories, Facebook stories. LinkedIn even has stories now. So they're talking to you and telling you in this email a little bit about stories, educating it on the reader on stories, and even providing a link. If you are not sure what social stories are, here's a link to an Instagram story primer. So even giving them another resource. So here's what happens is they start looking at your emails as, oh, I want to open this email because I always get a great resource. It's a great way to build credibility. So that is the purpose of this one. This is a value post email.
Awesome. Okay, and so I left off the link on purpose because I wanted to actually walk through this process real quick. Okay, so click on the block, or you can always click on the little pencil icon here until we have this pop up, right? Now, we say we want to find an Instagram story primer. Okay, so we need to find a quick document that talks about Instagram stories for beginners, right? Wouldn't that be a good one?
Right.
So we'll say Insta stories for beginners. And we're just going to pick the very first one we see. So here you go. Here's hey, there you go. Beginner's Guide to Instagram Stories and how to use them. Wonderful. So let's say we want to use this as the article. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you want to copy that link up there, right? So that's your URL link we want to use. Now let's pop back in here. Okay. And we want to highlight exactly where that link should go. Click link, click insert link, and then see where it says URL. We pop in that link, keep the text the way that it is. Now, open link in new tab. Yes, do that. Okay. Every time you get the opportunity to do that, please do, because if you don't, they're going to be taken away from your email and they're not coming back at that point. Right. But if you say open link in a new tab, then your phone, your computer, it's going to open a new tab on that browser so that your email is still open. Okay. So anyways, so we'll go ahead and we'll click that and click insert. And now you see that over here, it is green and underlined and bold, right? And that means you now have an official link. Now, can you change the color of the link? Of course you can. But for this, do we need to? No, of course not. And it's green. So it's going to stand out like crazy. So I actually kind of like it like this. Okay. And so that would be it. We would click save. And there you go. There's your email. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to pop out of here. And we're going to go to our third and last email. Now, do we want to send that last email right away? No.
No.
We do not. So what we want to do is we want to send it another day apart, right? So I like sending emails a day apart as much as humanly possible, at least 3 to 5 emails, because we want people to really get to know us as quickly as possible. Strike while the iron's hot, as they say, right? And it's the same thing with this. Well, people might get they're too inundated. They don't want so many emails. No, don't do that. You have to, you got to get their attention. I'm sorry, but we need like 10,000 marketing messages per day now per person. So, if you're going to be wimpy about this, it's just you're not going to get their attention. You've got to be aggressive to begin with. I know it's not a great word, but we'll use it anyways. You got to be aggressive. You got to because look, you're not just trying to sell people something. You're giving them a solution to something that is bothering them, right? So even if it's ice cream, well, they're hungry for ice cream, and your ice cream is the best. You should believe that. And if you don't, that's a whole other story. So you know what I mean? Like, you want to make sure that you're delivering as many messages as you can to start off with. Yes, you can go too far. Don't send them 2 weeks worth of messages every single day. Holy cow, that's enough. Unless it's something that's for a reason. I mean, info marketers do this kind of stuff all the time, where they send emails like every single day, and it can get a little much, right? It really can. So, but different story. So let's get into the third email. Okay. So again, we're waiting 1 day, and then we're going to send that third email. Okay. Again, there's your subject line, who it's from, email, and we're going to go into actually editing the email content. So Lee, what is this email all about?
Yeah, well, while it's coming up, I do want to tag on to what you said about sending them frequently when you first get their email address, because here's what's happening is you are starting to develop a relationship with them, or that is the intent. And they have to figure out, like, what is that relationship look like? Is this person going to be helpful to me? Are they going to be someone that I want to follow and open all their emails? So this is your chance to make that first impression over a period of the first week and really set the tone of what your brand is. All right. So for that, now you'll notice this one is a little bit longer, and it's got a few different components in it. So we're talking about is knowing, like, you do all this work to write your social media post, you design the graphics. How do you know where to find your audience and engage with them? How do you know what time to post? How do you know what platform to post on? So here's what this email is doing. It's offering social media marketing secrets blueprint, how to find and engage your audience. And it tells you what it is, a 5-step blueprint you can download. It's $37. Imagine if you had all of those secrets for $37. You can grab your blueprint here. So that's where it would take you to the order form opening in another tab. So it's a chance for you to make a sale. And notice at the end of this, P.S. why would you need a PS on an email when you can go up in the body of the content to do it? The reason you put a PS on an email is people will scroll down and they're going to see the bolded title of what you're offering. They're getting the hot link to buy the blueprint. And they're going to say, well, what's the PS? What's so important that you had to tell us now? So you've got a PS there. And in that PS, you've got a testimonial from someone who purchased the blueprint. So it's one more time for you to say, hey, this is a value. Someone else found it a value. And guess what? We've got a link right here conveniently located for you. You don't have to go up in the middle of the email to find it. Just click on the button and buy.
Yeah, okay, so I got to give credit where credit's due. Lisa, this is a brilliant email. When you're looking at this, folks, emulate it. I mean, don't copy it word for word, but find like the framework that she's using for this. It's brilliant. Plus, remember, it's a $37 offer. So what is that? Those are those entry-level offers that we talked about weeks ago, trying to get people in, right? Once people give you their credit card, they're more inclined to give it again and again and again. This is that entry-level offer to get them in the door, whether it's 37, 27, whether it's 7. I mean, don't go as low as $1. That's silly, but I would go as low as 7. But 37 is great, right, at this point, because it's not enough money to people to go, I don't know. Like if you were to go like 57, I think people might shy away a little bit. I like 37. That's a brilliant number. It's a great email. I definitely want to emulate this one as well for some other projects that I have. I love it. Absolutely love it. And again, the links are green so that they stand out, right? That PS, I love it because PS used to be just in letters and for, reasons, right? But this is great because PSs are now used in emails to really drive the point home, to really pull something out. And using a testimonial as a PS is awesome. Just love it. If you've ever watched the show Community, this is streets ahead. If you haven't, you don't know what that means. Anyways, so this is a great email. Absolutely love it. Again, I just want to keep it up just for another second, guys. Obviously, you can go back and watch this again and again. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. So you'll be able to kind of see how this works. Now, Lisa, obviously, this is one of the things that she actually does for a living. So reach out to her. All of her stuff is in the notes of the show. It'll be in the YouTube. It'll be in Facebook. It'll be everywhere. So you can always reach out to her if you need these types of things done. She does it, and she does it really, really well. Little plug for you, Lee. All right, so let's say that okay. Well, we don't want to just end this at this point, right? So, we want to do something with these email addresses. So let's say that this is their introduction to the company. Okay, this is their introduction to the brand, and now we want to put them through another sequence of emails that is maybe it's a 6-month type of sequence or a 12-month type of sequence or something like that, right? So what we want to do is we actually want to click on define the action. And then down here, you've got different actions that you can do once somebody goes through that sequence. You can update a custom field, copy to group, move to group, remove from group, mark as unsubscribed, move to another step, right, in the workflow. We don't need them to do that. Really, what we would do at this point is we would move to group or copy to group. I would prefer to probably move to group so that everything stays kind of uniform. So what a group is, again, guys, a group is basically a list. Okay, so you would create another list, you'd create another group, you would title it, and then people would move into that group. And then that group could be used to trigger yet another email automation sequence. Okay, so this way they go through here and then they are moved on to the next one. You never want them to just sit. You got to keep them moving. Okay, got to keep those email addresses moving because you got to keep the communication moving. And the best way to do that is just to move them through different types of sequences. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of that section. The last thing that I kind of wanted to show, just from a MailerLite perspective, is when you click on the actual workflow here, you're going to get the workflow dashboard. Okay, and this is really important stuff. So you have completed subscribers in the queue, total emails sent, the percentage of opens, the percentage of clicked. Okay, so this, and this is very, very important.
Mhm.
Opened, if you're not getting really good open rates, look at your subject line. Okay. Is there something you can do there? Can you add those emojis? Can you change it? Can you simplify it? One of the best email subject lines that I personally use is question. That's it. Question. Because people like to answer questions. They like to read questions. So I put question and they answer and they open it. I love it. It's fantastic. So it's a great subject line. Lisa, do you have a couple of subject lines that you prefer to use as well?
Well, I just want to comment on the question because as humans, we are natural problem solvers. And so, think if you can answer that question or you can dismiss that question, you're going to get that just shot of adrenaline in there that you feel like you've completed something for that day. So yes, subject lines, very important. I know we've talked about that before, but, ask a question of, just something of intrigue to get them to move to the next step.
Yeah.
That's really important.
It is. And then, of course, you can come down here. You can see monthly workflow stats, the actual emails. This is a good little section here. So this will show you how many were sent, the percent open, the percent clicked for each individual email. So you can get down into the nitty gritty of what's working, what's not, so on and so forth. You can edit the content. You can edit the subject. So MailerLite's made this really easy to really start to edit. And the fact that they're giving you these options tell you that what we just said was true. If you don't have good open rates, try your subject line first. If you don't have good click rates, look at your content. That's pretty much why they have that there. So that pretty much takes care of that. There's viewing reports. There's super nerdy stuff. There's all sorts of things that you can do in here. But at the end of the day, it's just about getting that form up, getting that automation sequence rolling, and watch the business start to pick up.
Yeah, and one other thing that you've got on this dashboard here, Jeff, is the clicked. Now that is, are they clicking a link within the email? One thing I want to call out is when you got to the end of the sequence, you had an option to move them to another group. So this is where, let's say you have 3 offerings that you have. You might have an assessment where you come in and do a quick evaluation of something. You might have something where you're offering a longer period of time, or you might even just have a downloadable product like the $37. You can put something in the PS that might be on a related product. Like, if you're interested in this, we have this option. If they click there, what they're telling you by clicking on that, it tells you that this person is interested in this other product that you offer. So use that information, put them into a group that is going to nurture them and sell them to that other product offering because they've already told you that. Use that information.
Absolutely. And that's part of the functionality built right into it. So look, there's a lot you can do with this program. Obviously, MailerLite themselves do have documentation, but of course, like most things in life these days, the best thing for you to do is to go to YouTube and search. Okay. Yeah. YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google, and for a good reason, if not, coming on the first. But, so go there, learn. There's so many amazing people in digital marketing that give away so much information for free. There's a lot of good, kind-hearted people in this industry, and some not so good. But for the most part, you look, they want to give you the right tools so that you guys can succeed. Sorry, I can't stumble through my words. Because if you succeed, we all succeed, right? This is how business world works. So that pretty much takes care of the actual automation platform. I think that in closing notes, if you will, you can get really bogged down on the shiny object syndrome, meaning different tools, different things, so on and so forth. So you got to stick to just the basics. Get something done. Get it up and running. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be pretty. It just has to be. Okay. You can get so tied up in, I don't know if this is right. And it does, just get it up. Okay. Just get it up and running. Same thing with Facebook advertising. You know how many companies are so afraid to start Facebook advertising because they don't really think they know what they're doing? Okay, but just keep it cheap, $5 a day, $7 a day, whatever you can afford, and just get it up and running because look, you're going to learn from your mistakes. You're going to learn from your successes. There is no such thing as failure unless you quit completely. Otherwise, failure is just nothing more than a learning lesson, right?
That's right. That's right. It's feedback.
It is feedback. It certainly is. So, Lisa, do you have anything else to add to the episode?
No, I just think as we, wrap up this email series here, really looking at if you don't have an email list, start one and go back through the episodes we've walked you through. But if you do need more assistance, as Jeff said, not only do I write the emails, but I also coach people because people do want to put their voice into the emails. And I totally support that. I firmly believe in that because it's a way for people to know you. So if you need some coaching along the way, certainly set up a pick my brain session. I can give you some feedback. Very happy to do that. But get your email list started and get those emails out there.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for somebody to help you build all this stuff, that's obviously my territory. So go to jvincentcreative.com and, click on schedule a call and schedule a call with me. It's always free. I give a lot of amazing value on that call. So get you a call and let us help you grow your business because that's why we are here. All right.
And
so
one other thing, Jeff, is to our listeners is if they would like to get 15 things they can do to grow their business in 2021, we do have a free download. You go to businessgrowthinsiders.com/free and just enter your email address and name, and we'll send that off to you. And yes, you will get an email, but it will be primarily announcing our episodes or featuring some of our guests or some of the golden nuggets that come out of that. So we promise not to share your email address. We will not spam you. It will always be value and a way to serve you.
Absolutely. There's no other way to do it. Yeah. You do good to people and see, it's literally work hard and be nice to people. Okay. That's what y'all need to do. That's what I try to do. That's what Lisa definitely does. All right. So for Jeff Evans, this is Lisa McGuire. And Lisa, take your business
and grow.
Bye, everybody.